I'm the 13th Wolfman. I went out and saw X-Men Apocalypse. What'd you think? What did I think? Let's find out. Hey everyone, I'm the 13th Wolfman. I went out and saw X-Men Apocalypse, and you know what? I love this movie. I've loved all of the X-Men movies, some lesser than others. I mean, there's always going to be those ones somewhere in the middle that, you know, kind of get muddied up, like X-Men 3, The Last Stand. But it's not a bad thing. You know, in fact, the entire X-Men timeline works if you watch it in one continuous thing. You know, it's like you got X-Men 1 through 3. The ending of 3, you know, we all know what happens, you know. They didn't know what they were going to do next, so they basically rebooted the entire series back in the 60s so we could get the younger versions of Magneto and Charles Xavier, played by James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender in the series, and they brought along new versions of older characters, you know, younger versions of old characters. Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, Nicholas Hoult as Beast, you know. And now that was the reboot First Class. Now 2 movies after that, we're into X-Men Apocalypse, and we know these characters. We've grown up with these characters. It's been 16 years since the very first X-Men movie came out. You know, 2000 I think is when the first movie came out, and 16 years later, it's looking as great as it can be, and now you've introduced one of the biggest mutants in the X-Men continuity factor, and that is Apocalypse. Now, here's a side note: did you know that May 2016 marks the 30th anniversary of the introduction of Apocalypse in the comics? And it just so happens that May 2016 is when X-Men Apocalypse came out. What can you say? Coincidence? I think not. No. But yeah, so we get Apocalypse introduced into this, and some people are saying that, you know, Apocalypse as a character is kind of nerfed, kind of muted, because in the comics and the cartoons, you know, he's all powerful. You know, he can grow to be 3 billion times the size of an ant. You know, he can do whatever he wants. He can turn his hands into rockets, and, you know, he's Apocalypse. You know, he's great and exalted. But in the movies, he's Apocalypse. He's the great and exalted. You know, people are saying that, and I can kind of see what they're saying. But you know what? I remember watching the 1990s cartoon. After a while, you know, Apocalypse kind of gets boring. Because they're like, oh, well, we thought we defeated him. Nope, he's back again. Oh, well, we thought nope, here he is again. You know, it's like... So I could kind of see why they kind of nerfed the story of Apocalypse in this movie. That's just me. But then we get the introduction of a new introduction of another character that was in a previous movie, Nightcrawler. Now, I loved Alan Cummings as Nightcrawler in X2. Nightcrawler is my all-time favorite X-Men. I pop in and out of my videos, guys. I mean, you must have figured it out. But, I need to put some blue makeup on and get some yellow eyes. But yeah, so we get Nightcrawler, a young Nightcrawler, and I just love the look of him, and he seems more... The actor that played the new Nightcrawler seemed a little more committed. I really felt for the character a little bit more than when Alan Cummings played it. And I loved Alan Cummings as Nightcrawler, but I just think this actor just felt like he was really into the role of playing Kurt Wagner, you know, the Nightcrawler. We get a new Angel, a new Warren Worthington. I'm not quite sure. You don't really get to know Angel. I mean, they mention his name once, I think, in the movie. Not his real name, but just Angel. Apocalypse says, "You are my new angel." That's pretty much it. You know, he turns him into Archangel, but there was one of the things that kind of, like, I didn't care for is the fact that he turns him into Archangel, but in the movie, he's not really Archangel. Archangel, his skin is not blue. You know, his wings are metal, which is cool. But you got a younger Aurora Monroe, a.k.a. Storm, and you get her with the alternate timeline mohawk, and I love that. If they go this route, I mean, well, if not if, but since they're going this route with the alternative timeline and she has the mohawk, I'm hoping that somewhere down the road we will see the love interest of Wolverine and Storm. You know, I mean, Hugh Jackman has already said that this is going to, you know, this and I think the next Wolverine movie are his last two movies. So we will be seeing a reboot of Wolverine, which is fine. This movie just encapsulates the entire feeling of a comic book to me. I loved everything about it. There are things that... I didn't care for Apocalypse's voice. I do think that they could have tried to get a more bombastic voice out of him. They could have run through some filters, you know, or something and just made him sound, you know, more ferocious, vibrant, you know, but it just... And I've said this on the Dorkening not too long ago when we were talking about the show. We were talking about... My problem is that I compare everything to the 1990s animated series. You know, and so in my head, Apocalypse is this big, bombastic sounding, and then you get Apocalypse, you know, and it's like, okay, make them sound like, can you dig it type of thing, you know. It doesn't feel that. I mean, it doesn't sound that way. I was good with Oscar Isaacs playing Apocalypse. Thought he did a great job with that. You know, the voice, one little thing, no big deal. What would I give this? I would easily give this like 3 3/4 chainsaws out of 4. I really loved X-Men Apocalypse. I think it was a great follow-up to X-Men Days of Future Past. In fact, they mentioned Days of Future Past in this. People are saying Jennifer Lawrence kind of like phoned it in with her acting, but I didn't see that. I see Jennifer Lawrence's character Mystique more as less rebellious now and trying to help out the mutants more than trying to just obliterate anyone that doesn't agree with them. So yeah, that's what I think about X-Men Apocalypse. Did you see it? Tell me what you thought about it if you saw it. You know, did I come across with some of the right things and not some of the right things? What didn't you like about this movie? You know, tell me. Write it down in the comments. Subscribe, share, like, comment, do all that, please. You know, and tell me what you think. With that, of course, you know what? I'm the 13th Wolfman, and hey, I'm on the prowl.